Hi, my name is Bob Connors, Chair of the Newbury Police Station Building Project Construction Committee. Permit me to confirm all members and persons anticipated on the agenda and are present and can hear me. When I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Martha?
Yes.
John Keller? Eric Svan? Deputy Chief Lucy. You can tell my script is outdated there, Chief. Chief Lucy. Okay. Steve Theron.
Here, yes.
Doug Gordon.
Here.
Jeff Shaw.
Here.
Jeff, was Craig Johnson going to be on the call as well, or are you covering for him?
No, I'll be here. I think he's going to be on the call tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Okay. Good morning. This open meeting of the Newbury Police Station Building Project Construction Committee is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of COVID-19. In order to mitigate the transmission of COVID-19, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of open meeting law to have all meetings in publicly accessible physical locations. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with the agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comments. Please note this meeting is being recorded and that the attendees are participating by video conference. All right. I would think Mr. Baker could give us the cliff notes on that by now. The good ones get the message. All right, why don't we turn to our meeting packet? Tab 1. Is John on? Do we have John before we?
He's not connected to audio and we're not seeing him. He's here, but doesn't seem to be communicating.
Well, why don't we, okay, you can see him.
Well, I can see his name. I can't see him,
Okay.
and he's got no audio right now.
Okay.
No video either, yeah.
Right, no video.
Well, why don't we review the minutes for a moment? If you can hear me, John Keller, you're probably going to have to just call in. Use the phone number, because we're going to have to be able to acknowledge your vote one way or the other.
Yep.
Okay.
So
I'm here now.
Oh, thank you, John.
Yeah, it's not coming on my computer, so I'm using my phone.
Yeah, thank you. You know what it is, John? Now that we're down to 5, we need 4 for a quorum.
Yeah, no problem. Only
So
took 2 minutes to do this.
So, John, we're on tab 1. We're reviewing the minutes. And then I'm going to call for a motion. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion on the minutes.
I do have one suggested change, which is to change John Lucy from Deputy Chief to Police Chief.
You really have a hard time with that, Bob, don't you?
No. You know what, John? We're all too lazy to update our documents, so that's the problem.
I'm the one that should be saying that. I didn't do it.
Well,
I'm doing it right now, John.
I'll take care
All right,
of it.
I know you drive, John. I know you drive. It's okay.
I did the same thing, John, on the preamble opening the meeting because it's, you know, it's a set script. So, okay. Any other than that one correction? Any other comments? Okay, all in favor, say aye. I'll do a roll call vote. Martha Taylor,
Aye.
Chief Lucy,
Aye.
John Keller,
Aye.
and Bob Connors votes aye. The motion carries unanimously. All right, let's go to tab 2. Tab 2 is pay rec number 11. It's funny on Facebook. It popped up the other day that it was almost 12 months to the day that we were before town meeting and got approval to start this project, November 12th. And to be somewhere in the 80% completion within 12 months is a credit to the whole hard work of the design team, build team, and certainly this committee. Pretty remarkable to get this far along in a relatively short period of time under the circumstances of 2020. So we have pay rec number 11. We have the warrant cover sheet. We have Steve's letter of recommendation. We have a fully executed application and certification for payment from the contractor and from Context. So is there a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion on pay rec number 11.
So I'm just looking at it now, and no, the change order wasn't added to this one.
It just hasn't been, you know what, it needs to be really reviewed and approved at this meeting, so it'll show up in the next one.
Yep, okay, just wanted to make sure I was seeing that right.
Yeah. Yeah, we would, it just seemed to be the cleanest way to do it. So, but we got change orders, I think it's tab 5, so.
Yep. Okay,
All
thank you.
right. Hearing no other questions, all those in favor say aye. Roll call. Martha Taylor,
Aye.
John Keller,
Aye.
Chief John Lucy. You're on mute, John.
I clicked it 3 times. Yeah, there it is. Aye.
Okay. And Bob Connors votes aye. The motion carries. Okay, if we turn to tab 3, we have the monthly context architecture invoice. We have the letter of recommendation. And let me just see it in the warrant cover sheet. Do we have a motion to accept, pay this invoice?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Yeah, you know what? With only 4 of us, it's we share similar roles of in favor. So, any questions on that, team? This is certainly a reoccurring invoice. All the paperwork is in order. Okay, hearing no questions. All those in favor, say aye. Roll call vote. Martha Taylor,
Aye.
John Lucy,
Aye. My mic keeps cutting in and out. I apologize.
I hear you. And John Keller?
Aye.
And Bob Connors says aye. All right. Tab 4 has been left blank. It's usually the placeholder for the Vertex invoice. It just didn't make it into the packet in time. I'm not sure, Steve, if that is, they just do these at the middle of the month, or our meeting probably a little bit early for them to catch it. So
You just had some corrections that had to be made. I had to send it back. I'm sure it'll be out shortly. Sure, I appreciate that, Bob.
Okay. All right, so turn to tab 5. We have change order number 3. So what we have in before us is PCO 4 R4. If you recall, that was for the additional helical geopiers in the hardscape area. That was done under dispute. We've looked at this several different ways, and at this point, it's recommended that we accept it as presented. There is no time penalty on this at this point. And PCO 13R2, that was pre-approved by the committee at the previous meeting. PCO 14R, Cedo shingle flare, that was previously approved at our last meeting. PCO 15R3, this was a credit from the waterproofing company of $21,400. There was a duplicate of the air vapor barrier being placed over the zip wall system, and it amounted into a credit of $21,400. I want to give BC Construction a shout out for that. They pointed out this conflict and aggressively negotiated the settlement of it. So, good job on BC's part. PCO 18, in the door separating the Sally Port to detention, it did not include a vision kit. Chief Lucy recommended one be installed, and we agreed, and that was previously approved. So the total change order number 3 is for the amount of $35,949.79. So the original contract amount was $6,418,301. With this change order number 3, the new total is $6,488,208.87. I want to give everybody a lot of credit. Minimizing change orders like this, receiving credits on the elevator and others along the way has dramatically offset the typical change orders one would expect on a project of this size. You have all of the support documents within there, within the tab. There are additional letters of recommendation that have been provided by Vertex on this. So question, we'll accept this today, and Steve and Jeff, then this will just get factored into the next pay record as a contract amendment, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So do we have a motion addressing change order number 3?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, discussion. Any questions, anyone? Okay, hearing none. All in favor, say aye. Roll call vote. Martha Taylor,
Aye.
John Keller,
Aye.
Chief Lucy,
Aye.
and Bob Connors votes aye. Motion carries. All right. Tab 6 is our version of our monthly hot list. And just go through this. All right. So, Steve, you'll get us the Vertex invoice.
Yes. As soon as that's issued, yes. Thank you.
Great. Gale invoice. We have a hold on that, Steve. I know you've been working with them. Just some questions on the invoicing. Any update on that, or is it something you want to talk about offline?
Yeah, we can go through. They have proposed a detailed breakdown of the work that they did on the time materials component of it. It's about a half of it is the work done for the window testing. The other half is what they provided the breakdown for. And so we can go through that and see what you and the committee want to do with the invoice they've provided.
Yeah, I think that from my perspective, we did not accept their original proposal, and it was reduced to just window testing. And I haven't compared the date of the purchase order to their breakdown. From my perspective, it looks like their review process to the original request for proposals is now being factored in as somehow a cost to the town, when actually I would call it more bid preparation. I just find it outrageous that there's 22 hours to review not more than a half a dozen plan pages for window waterproofing, which was what they were authorized to perform. So we'll find a fair solution to it, but I need to get a copy of the date of the purchase order and the specifics of the purchase order, just to make sure we're operating within the parameters of the contract.
Okay, I can get that to you, Bob. There's no problem.
Okay, mechanical commissioning. Quote, we've revised and limited the scope to more of a startup checklist of manuals, warranties, items like that. Where are we at on that, Steve?
So the firms have the revised approach outlined. I've had a couple of questions over the last few days just to go through this revised scope. I expect to have quotes. Today's Tuesday. I'll have them probably by Thursday and be able to come back to the committee with that. The anticipated start on this approach is early December, so we can figure out what may be needed to be done in terms of authorization when we get the quotes in, and see what seems to be best as far as a recommendation. But I'll have that feedback by the end of the week.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I have one question, if I may. Does that include any training for our guys?
So training is included as part of the base package from the subcontractors themselves. The commissioning agents actually don't typically do a lot of the training.
Okay, okay.
They do all the testing of everything. So yeah, so that's how that'll be performed.
Great, thank you.
They do
Okay,
ensure that it's done, though. To be clear, they do ensure that it's done as part of their process to make sure that process is followed through on, though.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, landscape sprinkler install 4,200. We had a verbal quote from Mike Crester on it. It's been written up as PCO 20. There was a couple of questions on that, so that's back before Jeff Vincente. Okay, item 5. John, PRS open item status and quote. I want to say you said they came in, John, around just under 11,000.
Correct.
Okay.
I have PRS. I do not have TCS yet. Actually, let me check my email. I may have it. I did not see it, but well, if I do have that, I'll forward that off to you. I expect that now. So
Okay, so TCS quote. Yeah, the pressure's on us now on the FF&E stuff, obviously. Vertical, how are they going to handle that? Is that a Susan thing or?
that is a Susan thing. Same response as TCS. I can find out from Sue if she's got that, what they closed out at, but that is a Sue thing. Yes.
Yeah, we need their quote and we need their schedule. I mean, I know Eileen is going to want the usual documentation before although these are all existing vendors anyway.
They are.
Aren't they?
They are.
But they're going to need a new purchase order for this, so.
Correct.
Okay, Eaton console furniture quote and your grant money source, John. You were talking about you had a.
I do have some options. I've done a lot of soliciting and I'm getting crickets right now. So I mean, I'm open to any other avenues other than I mean, I don't know what else I can do other than solicit and wait for responses, but I've got 3 out there right now and I haven't heard back.
Okay.
But I do have my state 911 grant that I'm looking at. seeing how that's applicable, and what I can use out of that. So,
Okay. John, can you get the quote over to us on that? You and I can get the Eaton quote. I haven't seen that yet. The Eaton console
I did,
furniture.
yeah, that should have been a couple of weeks ago that I sent that to you. I can resend it.
Okay,
So.
yeah, all right.
Yep.
I'll, yeah, we need to work that out. Okay, existing furniture spreadsheet. We had prepared Mike Riley had presented the existing furniture that was being reutilized per location. And you were updating that. And you told me it's ready. When are we gonna see that?
If I can share my screen, hold on 1 second.
Yeah, just send it out, John. Just send it out as just send it out as an attachment to everyone. And as long as it's pending, I just wanna, I'm just getting concerned with FF&E. There's a number of items we need to get going on so that we don't impede the schedule. All right. So any other FF&E quotes issues that we should be looking at? Did we resolve all the IT network room conflicts? Has that been squared away?
That has been, as far as I know, the layout's been squared away. Everybody's on track. State 911, I'm just waiting if we have a communication with Andy, and it's basically what I thought. He's just waiting. They're not going to do anything until they have a substantial completion date, or we get that tied, get that closer, because they come in once and do everything.
Right.
And until we know that date, we're pretty comfortable on it. Any dialogue with them is moot. That's what I gleaned from my last conversation.
Okay. So Steve Theron, have we heard any more from BC on the? Have we heard any more? Wow, I'm getting some feedback here.
Yeah, me too.
Can everyone go on mute? Why don't we do this? Just put yourself on mute. Okay, Steve. All right. Steve, just make a notation on the BC drywall credit for the attic area for our next meeting.
Okay, will do. I haven't seen that, and I think it's on the notes to ask for that, so I certainly will reinforce that.
Yeah,
Yes.
great. Okay, moving on to item number 12. It's just, again, this is probably from the commissioning team of BC. All the transferable warranties process and the permanent record is just what's going to be the process for that. Are we going to receive all the warranties from the contractor, and then we have to file them separately on appliances, equipment, light fixtures, or how? What's the plan on that, Steve?
So the contract has a 1-year full guarantee from the contractor, and that's for everything included. The specific warranties, if there's an opportunity to file those separately, I've never seen a contractor or a subcontractor file those for appliances, and there are a handful of them on the project.
Mhm.
So I'll check to see, just to make sure, but that specific appliance warranties the owner can file, but the whole rest of the building is fully warranted for a year.
Well, beyond that, Steve, on all the HVAC equipment, do we need to do anything? Heat exchangers typically carry it anywhere from a 15 to 20-year warranty. Refrigeration condensers, same thing, 5, 7, 10 years. I just want to make sure we trigger that process so that 3 years from now, if we have a problem, it would be covered, and it's just not because we failed to put the warranty in place.
Sure. Okay.
All right. Item 13. Where the town really doesn't have a facilities department, and our DPW does a great job. but they're not equipped as a full facilities type of group. Curious about what service contracts we can secure on HVAC for one. Doug Gordon did check with the vendor, and it's about 50% of their business, and they are a local vendor out of Newburyport. The elevator is mandatory because we have to have annual inspections. But again, what's the process to do that, and what cost are those going to be? Because Chief Lucy's going to need this for upcoming budgets for his annual operating, or we just got to plug it in somewhere. And the same thing on the other systems, security, security card readers, the camera systems and that and the like. Is just what opportunities and what costs are available for that. Is that something, Steve, that you guys can work on and have Doug work on? Doug had worked on the HVAC.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. You know, typically you turn that over to the facilities department, and you know, as you outlined, it's not quite how we're set up here. So yeah, we can, as Doug has done, is spearhead that effort for HVAC, elevator, security, and you know, any other warranty type items that come along. So we can take a lead on that.
Okay. Item 14, it happens on every project when you have a large generator. They typically hold about 1,000 gallons of diesel fuel. Chief, I'm under the impression that does 911 pay for fuel for emergency generators?
No, it's, I actually confirmed this with my predecessor as well, with Mike, and it's Seabrook Station that maintains and fuels and exercises the generator that we have now. And when I have a call into them, well, to Dave Rodham, and hopefully I'll have that answer today as far as what they want to be in the loop for with our new system. I don't know if they want to be there or party to the load testing or, you know, anything to do with that, but it's in their purview to take care of the emergency generator. So.
Okay, so BC is going to need to put fuel in this to do their load testing and all of that stuff.
Yep.
So Steve, does it make sense that they put in unless the contract says differently, they put in the minimum 100 gallons of fuel so they can operate and test the system? Or is that covered within the contract that they own that being fully fueled?
Yep, good question. We'll verify.
Okay.
It'd be one or the other, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, I've already looked at that. There's nothing in there.
Okay. Hey, good morning, Doug.
Morning.
Well, then what we probably should do then, guys, is proceed with, have BC put in the prerequisite 100 gallons so that they can do all their testing. And when John gets back to us on Seabrook Station, I'm assuming, John, that would just be a reimbursable expense to the town, is how they've handled it in the past?
No, it's basically just billed right to them. I can find out how they want to handle this, though. I'm writing it down.
Okay. I would think we only need 100 gallons of fuel from BC at this point. And I don't want to add a operating cost of fueling the generator to a construction budget.
Right.
So, all right, moving on to item 15. Brothers Electric staffing levels, schedule and impacts. And just looking at all the weekly reports, and I've shared my concern with BC, and I know Mike Crester and Chris have been looking at this and working with Brothers to increase their manpower. But I see a manpower level of 2 people on a project that requires more than that. They seem to be making up for lost time this week, but it's after an initial push and voicing of concern by the town. But all the exterior equipment has not been wired. The generator has not been wired. All the light poles have not been installed or wired. There's a great deal of work there that Wasn't done as of yesterday.
Okay, the light poles, they have run the wire to all the bases, so,
No, I understand that, but the physical,
yeah, right,
the whole building is rough, Doug. It's not finished, so
Right.
it's a concern, and here's the reason for my concern. Projects like this are going to run over in time. I know that BC has submitted a notice of change in time on the contract that's being reviewed. I do not find when a sub bidder or the subcontractor isn't providing the manpower, I don't consider that excusable delay. And that's why I'm voicing my concern on that. You know, the curbing, landscaping, exterior lighting status, all open items that based on previous monthly meetings and weekly reports, we're behind on. Now, some of that was a little weather related, but we're in the 11th period of a 12-month contract. So I just want to put these right on the front burner. But I'm concerned with Brothers Electric staffing levels. I think it's inadequate. Okay, item 16, curbing, landscaping, exterior lighting status.
Let me just chime in on two things. I did find that you own 3,000 gallons of fuel.
Okay, so they owe us 3,000 gallons of fuel?
That's it. Yep.
Okay.
Wait.
Doug, how does that conflict with your review? Where was
Okay.
that, Jeff?
where did he find that? Somewhere else in the specific contract versus in the specs?
That's in the electrical specifications. It's under section, it's on the electrical spec under 2.14. It's item number 7 when they are talking about the tank
Okay.
construction.
I'll take a look at that. Just didn't register with me. Thank you.
Okay. Well, Jeff, that's a wonderful find.
The other thing that we have dealt with Brothers on other projects, and I can't say that this is a new phenomenon for them, staffing. And in the last project that we dealt with them, we had to have a come to Jesus meeting with the OPM, the architect, and GC with Brothers to get them to staff the project. And they did, to their credit, they brought in extra folks, but it may be a little late for that at this point, considering there's 2 months left in the job. I don't know if they've got staff they can throw on it, but that may be something that is reasonable next step.
Well, Doug and I were talking on site and with Chris, and I brought up for the first time liquidated damages if Brothers becomes the big problem on this project. We certainly have the usual issues, delays, COVID, but National Grid is ready to turn the power on at a moment's notice. They have been a star on this project. And
It's usually the other way around.
no, it's amazing, Jeff. And what I'm not going to accept as an excuse is that National Grid didn't turn the power on.
Yep.
They've got an hour's work there, and they were there yesterday when I was there. Doug, did Brothers get their electrical inspection yesterday?
Yes, that's my understanding when I talked to the guy from National Grid.
Yeah. Did they get their feeds to the generator? It seemed like that was the next step before.
No, he was waiting for cable. The cable didn't come yesterday.
Okay. So that's my point, team. You know what? This happens, but the quality of Brothers' work is excellent. They're experiencing obviously manpower issues, which many are experiencing, but I just want to put this right on the front burner because I don't care about anyone else's project that's going on. We just want our project staffed.
Right. And we did, I spoke to Steve about trying to get the electrical engineer out here to kind of go through and get an overall feeling of, where they're behind?
You know what,
Would
Doug?
be helpful.
Why don't we do this? Jeff, you're going to be on the call for the next meeting is at today. For
Tomorrow.
I think, did you just keep it today, Steve?
So I actually moved it by accident to today, and because I moved it on my cell phone and I grabbed the wrong meeting. And unfortunately, because I created the meeting, it sent out the change notification. So then I backtracked with Jeff and just to make sure that they could meet and there was an issue with the regular meeting time, because I actually have a conflict with a commissioning program that the state is putting on that I'm attending. So I had to move that back to its regular time tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, Steve and Jeff, if we can just, and Doug, add extra emphasis on the brothers matter. I mean, again, it's not a quality issue. It's just the squeaky wheel going to get more manpower at this point. And I know that BC has been having spirited discussions with brothers on this. But like I say, the word liquidated damages comes up if brothers becomes the issue that we're 2 weeks behind.
Well, we provide a DCAM rating note as well for brothers. So
yeah, so I'm confident we'll work through it, but they just need a big push that we finish strong. All right, item 17, updated project schedule. Steve, as I recall, we've been notified that right now we're, if I'm not mistaken, our contract date for completion is about December 21st. And BC has notified us that it's going to be pushed back about 30 days to the 20th of January. Is that where we're at right now?
yes, and as you know, we had a very candid discussion because that's what's productive at this stage.
Exactly.
It wasn't a contractual discussion. It was a realistic discussion, so we can understand how all the rest of the pieces will fit in. They have made a request for an extension, which we have not. We have asked them to provide a full and complete request, not just a piecemeal request. So that's where that stands contractually. So I think
Okay.
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, no, I think, again, I go back to, it was November 12th of last year, we actually got this approved at town meeting. And I think we'd all agree to be this far along and within 12 months of town meeting. It's pretty extraordinary, and it's something we can all be proud of because it certainly quite an accomplishment in spite of all of the COVID stuff and confusion and what have you. But all right. So I guess, Steve, on the schedule change, we will know more beginning of December if that's going to be a firm date and what we're going to wind up doing. My suggestion, I know the landscaper was having trouble securing some plants that were necessarily specified but not available. I'm of the sense, and I'd like to get the committee's feeling that on items like that, if we're missing shrubs or trees, I'm at a point, I just think we ask them for a credit and just move on. We get more landscaping there. It's going to look great just the way it is.
But you also are going into a winter season. So
well, yeah, that's it.
They own the seasonal repair, essentially, of the landscape. Right. So you certainly are within your right to say, don't install it now, come back in the spring. When you're fixing the plants that didn't survive and install it then.
It was just one of those things, Jeff, that just trying to get a resolution on it, that if they're chasing a particular dogwood tree, I'm being facetious. I don't know if we'd even notice the difference if it wasn't there, as long as we just handled it in the appropriate fashion. But just wanted to throw that out there for discussion. All right, item 19. Chief, any issues on start time, parking, deliveries, any complaints? Your team has been doing an excellent job. Voting was seamless.
Yep. I actually got an email from a concerned resident congratulating and thanking us and thanking BC for their efforts to making that so smooth. There was absolutely zero problems, and this continues to be. We continue to monitor the situation, the start times, the arrival times, and document the same, and everything's been fine. No issues.
Okay, guys, that's all I got. Do we have any other matters or concerns via the design team or the build team? I think we've covered everything with BC. Steve, Jeff,
I'm all set.
what do we have? I'm always getting nervous about closeout documents, again, hence the overemphasis on getting service contracts and transferable warranties. Be great just to create a checklist so we could do that.
I think it's time we'll add that as a line item to the minutes and just have a closeout section.
Okay, great.
Which I typically do toward the end, which now's as good a time as any. We'll note those items, and that'll take on punch lists and warranties and as-built and all those typical closeout items, just so we can make sure that we bring it to the attention of the team and they start thinking about those things as well.
All right. Well, why don't we move on to our next meeting date? Let me just see here. So our next meeting date would typically be Wednesday, December 9th or Wednesday, December 16th. Any conflicts with anyone? Is that enough time? I know we're always trying to catch the earlier warrant of the month, for the benefit of everybody that's receiving payment. It does stress out the ability it's easy to miss something because it just doesn't get in by what normally would come in by the 10th of the month and be processed, needs to come in almost at the beginning of the month.
I like the 9th, then we can get the contractor's rec approved and get that out to their team. I think that's best instead of waiting until the 16th.
Okay. All right. Well, why don't we schedule? Is there any? As we close this out, Steve, what's your recommendation? Should we even think about having more than one meeting a month? We can always cancel the meeting if we don't need it, but certainly.
I don't think we need it.
Okay. All right. So I'll do a meeting notice for December 9th. And that will be our next meeting. All right, having no other business, I move the meeting is closed. Thank you, everyone.
Just before you close out quickly, I did send you the vertical information that you asked for.
Okay, what was the amount on that, John? Was it?
It was, what the hell did I just send you? Hold on one second. It is right here. The total is 3948.
So 40K basically.
No. 4,000.
All right, don't scare me like that. Don't scare me like that.
No, I'm just making room for my console. That's all.
Oh,
It
geez.
was going to be 40, but I talked him down. So we can apply that, right?
So that's a $20,000 credit right there?
Yes, I'm working on it.
Okay.
No,
John,
so yeah, that's what I have. But as you see in my email, Bob, that's an email, that's an Excel spreadsheet. I'm not sure how it was generated. So I asked Sue for an actual on their letterhead quote. So that I'll get that as well. But
all right, great. All right, team. John, why don't you and I talk offline about furniture and your consoles, because I know we need to get those released really, ASAP.
yes, we do.
Okay.
We actually had made some progress on that yesterday. Martha, do you want to stay on with that too? You want to just do this right here, right now, after this meeting?
Well, you know what? Maybe that's a good point, because we're going to have to release furniture on the console, and where that is going to be obviously over 25K, what is going to be the process on that? from procurement?
Well, I mean, I can talk to Eileen about that. We can get the three, I can get the three quotes.
Well, you have,
Yeah.
well, I think once you get over a certain dollar amount, it is more of a formal package.
Yes, it is. It's over 20. I think it's over 25 is
Yeah.
it goes to the next tier.
Maybe what we do here, and Steve and Jeff, if you could chime in, maybe we transfer the console purchase to BC Construction. No?
I don't think that's a good idea. I think you just add the markups to it and you don't get much.
Can we look at the state
no,
bid
no.
list, maybe?
I think that the requirement is really that you just have to advertise
Yeah, three phone calls. Yeah, you have to have three
in
quotes.
I'm forgetting the names. It's not the central register, but it's the other document that the state has. I think that's your requirement. Once you go over 25, you've got to advertise for it in addition to getting quotes. You can get quotes, but you also have to
They're on, and the other thing too is they're on, Eaton and Evans are both on the state contract. So they're on the state bid anyway, which we are members of. So procurement's not going to be as cumbersome as,
Right.
as we think.
Why
Yeah,
don't
it's
you
just a
ever-
matter of, even though they're on the state, after a certain dollar, you still have to advertise
Within
public.
within the contract.
And that's really like the only hiccup.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
Is it putting it on combis?
Combis, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a timing thing of 30 days is a long time to wait. John, if you and Martha could work with Eileen and Tracy just to find out if they're on the state bid list, is it just an outright purchase like we do with fire trucks for $500,000, or is there another wrinkle there?
I will find out, but I'm pretty sure it's, yeah, I'll find out.
So you're comfortable with the going forward with the Eaton console furniture?
Yes, I want to look at it a little bit closer, but yes, yeah, I think that's the direction we're going to be going in. I think that'll suffice for what we're looking for, but we'll get that closed out. I'll talk to Eileen and we'll get that closed out hopefully before the end of the week.
I'd love to have it by the end of today. We're in the 11th period of a 12-month
No, I
project,
understand. I understand.
and the console has to get there in order so everyone can finish up.
Yep.
And that would become excusable delay for everybody but us.
Right.
So
I just gotta review what they've quoted out again, make sure it ticks all the boxes. I just want to do due diligence with that, but it looks like Eaton will probably be the way to go. That'll do what we needed to do.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Our next meeting will be December 9th at 7:30.
Okay, what do you want to do as far as our FF&E? Do you want to stay on or what are we doing?
Well, we have to close this out
Right,
because this is the public part of it. So,
Would you like me to create another meeting and invite you to?
yeah, why don't you do that? That'd be great.
I'll do that.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank
Thank
you,
you, everybody.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.